Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys, my international friends, joining us here as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, a little bit of television, a whole bunch of really good stuff all along the way. And I'm super thrilled to be joined once again by Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
John, I'm doing good today. As I told you, I'm very excited that my Catherine Trammell Basic Instinct figure has been shipped to me.
That is very exciting news.
She comes with the chair.
You seem overjoyed right now. I don't mind telling you. You seem a little bit overjoyed.
I'm pretty giddy. Maybe that's because I've got my giant Hollywood coffee mug here, full of Joe. So
full of Joe and full of goodness, and we are ready to get things rolling here today, guys. First thing we're going to start off is with this. News is just broken via our friends over at Slash Film that they have uncovered that Disney Plus, the upcoming streaming service from Disney, of course, that has a lot of shows coming, by the way, some Star Wars shows, a bunch of Marvel shows, all that kind of stuff. Well, apparently now, Rob, according to them, we've got a new show coming based on the What If series of comic lines. Rob, for people who don't understand what the What If thing is, let them know. What is What If?
Well, What If was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they would do things that didn't actually happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but what if they did? For instance, one of my favorite Marvel What Ifs was what if Conan the Barbarian was in the 20th century? Right. And they would do team ups and they would do storylines like what if Gwen Stacy didn't die, and it was usually a one shot. I mean, sometimes they might have, I don't think they did carry over into multiple issues, but they were awesome. I mean, it was like when you're a 6-year-old or maybe an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, when you're a little older, wondering like, what if so-and-so teamed up with so-and-so and they did this, and it was the realization of childhood fantasies. And I loved What If, and they brought it back a couple of times, but they could do things they could bring back characters. Like, what if you saw the first adventure of Quicksilver? They brought back Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. If they're going to do a Vision and Scarlet Witch show, they could do that. What if? They've got the actors there. The actors can show up and do 8 days.
Well, they can't. They can't. Oh. And here's why. One of the bits of information in the news story is that it is going to be an animated series. So it's going to be an anime. So you'd still bring in the original actors to do the voices and stuff like that if you wanted to, but it's going to be an animated thing.
Damn it, John.
Just to be clear for everybody, what happens in the What If show, apparently, according to the report, will not be part of Marvel canon, which, I mean, is kind of implied with the whole what if thing, right? So, Rob, now that you hear that it is animated, are you still excited for it?
Sure.
Sure, you're enthusiastic.
Okay, I get it. That's cool. I mean, it's another Marvel. I didn't realize that because I had obviously not read that article, but it's cool. I mean, it'll still be cool to do that, but it would be much cooler if it was live action.
Well, sure. I mean, yeah,
it's like in Dazed and Confused when Matthew McConaughey asks our young ward in the movie, he was like, "Hey, man, do you have a joint?" And he says, "No, I don't." He says, "Be a lot cooler if you did." so it'd be a lot cooler if it was live action.
But they are going to do animated. And hey, listen, it's a step one. Maybe this could lead to something a little bit bigger, a little bit further down the line. All right, with that down and out of the way, let's talk about this next. Speaking of Disney, we have been waiting for a while to find out when will this Disney-Fox merger close? When will it be all wrapped up, set, fired, ready to go? And it turns out that now we know when it's going to be, and that's going to be, Robert, on March 20th. March 20th is when they wrap this. I'm going to have you turn your headphones down just a little bit, but March 20th is when this thing wraps. It's all going to come to a conclusion. Now, one of the interesting and unfortunate things that have come out of this report about the whole thing shutting down, or the whole thing wrapping up, this whole merger thing coming to completion, is the fact that they're now estimating 4,000 people are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when you have two companies merging and overlapping, there's going to be some redundancy and there's going to be some people that lose their jobs. The 4,000 number is a little bit bigger than I was anticipating, to be honest. I didn't think it would be that high, but apparently it is. But, I mean, these are two giant companies. It's not like, Ed's corner store and Martha's corner store were merging. They had to let one, box room guy go. I mean, these are massive, massive companies. So that's unfortunate. But you're hearing about this thing finally wrapping up, Rob. What are your thoughts?
Well, on one hand, I think, first of all, 20th Century Fox, I've said this before, it's always been my dream to have made a movie with the 20th Century Fox logo on the front of it, because it's my favorite logo. I love the Fox fanfare. I hope they keep the brand name. But people losing their jobs is never a good thing. I mean, any kind of disruption like that is never a good thing. And I think that a company like Fox sucking up, a company like Disney sucking up Fox, it means that we've lost one of the great giants of the motion picture industry. But on the other hand, I think that the Fox library is safe. I think Disney will preserve the great legacy that of Fox films better than it's ever been preserved before. I think Disney will delve into things that aren't available on home video now and put them out. I think Disney will exploit the hell out of the great rich Fox cinematic legacy, which is a good thing. So it's there's good and there's bad. In the long run, it's probably not great for the industry, but it on the other hand, look, I'm an optimist. Who knows what opportunities are going to be presented by this merger? I mean, I as a Marvel fan, I'm excited to see what the MCU can do. Maybe we'll finally get a great Fantastic Four film. Maybe, I think most importantly, I would really like to get the original 3 Star Wars films released in their original formats.
Not going to happen.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of money to be made there.
It doesn't matter. George Lucas had it put into that contract when he sold it out. These things don't exist anymore. And you can't, doesn't matter how much money's on hand, you got to get George Lucas to sign off on it. And George Lucas ain't signing off on it. He ain't ever going to sign off at that. He's got billions of dollars. I mean, what do you do with the George Lucas? Now, listen, I am with you completely. I want that. I want that badly.
I mean, I have a 4K version of it. I can give it to you.
Well, I would like that. I've got a 4K TV now, but I'm just telling you though, like Lucas, I don't want to get any false hope going here. Lucas ain't going to sign off on it. It ain't up to Disney and it ain't up to Fox. It's up to George, and George ain't ever going to let it happen. Damn you, George. But I wish he would. I hope he would. And I don't know, maybe hope springs eternal. Maybe at some point he'll go, all right, fine. And he lets everybody do it. I don't know, maybe.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that that Disney is going to keep the Fox like franchises such as Alien, Predator, Die Hard, R-rated? Are they going to move forward? And we've talked about Deadpool many times. I mean, do you think they'll do that?
Well, I mean, here's why I think it's a possibility, because one of the interesting things in varieties I thought this was interesting. Let me read this here, is that Disney, and I'll show you how this ties into what you just asked. Disney has already outlined the leadership plan for its film and TV units. Emma Watts, who is the vice chair over at 20th Century Fox, Emma Watts will continue in her role as vice chairman of 20th Century Fox, reporting to Disney Studios chairman Alan Horn. No big surprise there. Alan Horn is the high lord of all things movies when it comes to Disney, who only answers to Bob Iger. That's the only guy he answers to. Fox Searchlight's chiefs Nancy Utley.
Should I call Bob, by the way?
What's that? Oh, yeah,
should I call Bob?
Well, no, he's golfing right now. I know that for a fact. So check on him later. But and maybe look. Everything I had heard from all the reports and everything was that basically Disney was going to strip down the Fox assets for parts and utilize them and leverage them towards their other things. And they are doing some of that. I just found it interesting that the wording of the story was that Emma Watts will continue her role as vice chairman of 20th Century Fox. Does that mean they're going to keep a 20th Century Fox banner? If so, then why couldn't you release R-rated this or that, whether it's Aliens or Predators or Die Hards or maybe all those franchises times have come and gone. Deadpool, exactly. Why couldn't you just move that or keep Deadpool under Fox? Remember, Bob Iger always said, we can do R-rated stuff. We'll just have it under a different banner. It won't be under Disney. It won't be under Marvel. Maybe the 20th Century Fox banner gives them that. Like I'm basing all this on one line in an article. All right. So I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating here, but it does open up some possibilities. The one thing I know that will not happen is that Galactus is not popping up in Endgame. That's still not happening, Rob.
Come on, dude. That final credit sequence.
To terms with that.
I hope. The picture. I'm crossing my fingers.
The Russos already said the picture's locked. The movie's done. This deal hasn't even closed. They can't put Galactus in. He ain't going to be in it. Sorry about that, but he ain't going to be in it. And they wouldn't rush something like that. Wouldn't rush something like that. Come on.
No, you never know.
Don't worry, but that's good news, Rob. Because here's the good
eternal,
news.
John.
All these fans are like, oh, put X-Men and put Galactus and put everybody in Endgame. Guys. They're not going to do it, and that's good. Because Kevin Feige is going to take his time with this stuff. And when he gives us Galactus, and when he gives us his X-Men stuff, and he gives us all that stuff, it ain't going to be some rushed, let's throw this into a movie. It's going to be thought out, planned, mapped out, tested, reviewed, the whole bit, and they're going to give us gold. And they ain't going to give us some rushed out crap. So the whole idea, Rob, you should be celebrating that Galactus ain't going to be just force-fed and shoehorned into an Endgame. When he does Galactus, it's going to be on a big scale.
No, I agree.
Done right.
I agree. I think you're absolutely right about that. But damn it would be awesome. I mean, come on, the inner child that lives in me every single day is jumping up and down at the thought that Galactus could show up in the end credits
and hey,
of
listen,
Endgame.
As much as I'm sitting here and saying it ain't going to happen, you never say never in this business.
Especially not with the MCU.
So look, I will choke on my popcorn if we're sitting there in the end credit scene and some huge thing in the background of space, you can't quite make it out, is just ominously coming close and then quickly flying in front of it is like some silver streak. Then dude, I will choke.
I just got goosebumps when you just said that. Come on.
And you don't even get a good look. It's just this big, huge ominous. What is that with some giant, Cuisinart hat? What's that? And then you don't even see the figure, just this thin silver streak shoot in front of it.
Dude, we would all lose our minds.
Oh, bowels would be evacuated. Yes, bowels would be evacuated across America with all the geek boys if that would happen. And I'll choke on my popcorn, but never, it ain't going to happen, but never say never. Never say never. All right, let's move on to this one last off the top before we get into our main topics as submitted by you guys. Robert, a little trailer dropped this morning for a little film coming called Aladdin. So what is really truly the first full-blown trailer for Aladdin dropped this morning. Now, I have been very critical of what we've gotten out of the Aladdin stuff so far, mainly because we're only just a couple of months away now for the movie opening. We've had 2 spots. Still haven't heard a single line from the lead character. Still haven't heard a single line from the secondary lead character. Still haven't heard a single line from the genie. Well, one line from the genie. It's just been a collection of establishing shots to the point that I've been starting to wondering, are they hiding this damn thing? Are they just straight up hiding this movie from us? Well, the trailer dropped this morning with the lead character speaking, with Jasmine speaking, with Genie speaking. And look, Rob, I'm going to tell you this. Here's my thoughts on this. This is the best trailer they've put out yet.
Oh, by far.
There's no doubt. No doubt. This is the best trailer they've put out yet. I love the transition between Will Smith Blue Genie and Will Smith taking on a human guise so he could be there with Aladdin. Because I always thought that was weird in the animated film. Wait a minute. Genie's there, but nobody's questioning this blue-looking guy? Anyway, so I like that kind of transition in and out. Naomi Scott is... I've been a fan of Naomi Scott for a while. I think she's wonderful. And hearing her, and I'm assuming it's her, belting out Whole New World, that was a nice moment. That was good. There are a few moments. But I'm going to tell you right now, I do not like this trailer. I don't like this trailer. And I'll tell you why. While I like the transition stuff of the genie. It certainly felt more genie-ish than what we've got out of the previous stuff. I like that song moment. That was great. Even a little taste of Never Had a Friend Like Me was thrown in there as well. You got a look at Iago, Monkey, Carpet, the Tiger, all that kind of stuff. There was one really good shot. My favorite shot of this trailer was when the giant hand of the genie with the puppet strings and had Aladdin dancing in the cave.
Yeah,
nice shot. Nice shot. I'll give you that. Other than that shot, though, it felt like a Lifetime Network movie to me. Like, honestly, I was watching it and it felt thin and cheap. and it felt like someone just took a camera onto the stage show of Aladdin and was filming the staging. Like even that one little hitch moment when Genie goes, no, it's not my time to go and talk to her. And Genie goes, and he starts sliding backwards. Even then, it looked like he was stuttering a little bit on the way back. It's like they had a bad mat that they were pulling him backwards on. It felt very staged. And again, the shots just felt like they were half composed, like a low budget Lifetime movie to me. Now, look, let me be very, very, very clear here. I will give Disney the benefit of the doubt, and I certainly give Guy Ritchie the benefit of the doubt. I love Guy Ritchie as a director. I even liked his Arthur movie. I even liked his Arthur movie, and I know a lot of you hate it. That's fine.
You mean the King Arthur movie, not
King Arthur.
Not
yeah.
Caught in New York City Arthur.
Yes, not a remake
not
of
Christopher Cross Arthur.
No, this will be King Arthur. I even like that movie. I love this guy's directing style. Love it. So I believe the movie will be good. I'm just going on the assumption that Aladdin will be good. I'm not sitting here saying the movie's going to be bad. I believe this movie's going to be good.
Sure.
But if we're just talking about the trailer, this trailer did not sell me. This trailer, if anything, kind of took a little bit of the wind out of my enthusiasm for this thing. I will say I like the poster. The poster's nice. It's kind of a old Star Wars. Drew, who did the Star Wars posters? Drew
Struzan.
Struzan, thank you. It's got a little bit of that feel to it, and I actually really do quite like the poster. But the poster feels like a full, fleshed out, this is a poster to a motion picture.
Right.
The trailer did not feel that way to me. So, I don't know, and I was surprised because I was reading some comments before the show went live today, and there are people loving this trailer. Loving this trailer. And that's great. I'm happy. That's wonderful. But I'm not going to lie. I think Disney's marketing dropped the ball on this. I don't know, Rob, you had a chance to watch this trailer. What did you think about it?
Well, like you, I'm always talking about verisimilitude.
Yes.
It's probably silly to talk about that in regards to a movie about a giant blue genie who comes out of a lamp. But, that moment when Aladdin's running down into the alleyway when the monkey falls on him.
Right.
It looked to me like it was shot in Vegas. Like it was shot. If there's an Aladdin theme park in Las Vegas, this whole movie looks like it was shot there. And I think maybe that's okay. But like you, I felt the whole movie looks, when you say it looks like a Lifetime movie, it's very overlit. I mean, one of the things that I've loved about the live action Disney films, really beginning with Cinderella, is how the way that they're shot,
right.
It's magical. It's like when Helena Bonham Carter shows up in Cinderella, as the fairy godmother, the crazy fairy godmother, and it was magical. Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella is I love it, and I've loved the Jungle Book. The Lion King looks amazing to me. Even Beauty and the Beast felt storybookish, and this didn't feel. And look, it might be just the way that the trailer was presented, and maybe it's just the story, and maybe I'm out of my mind. But it just felt, like you said, this is such a weird criticism to come from me, but it felt so artificial. It didn't like Aladdin. I've always been captivated by Scheherazade and the 101 or 1001 Nights, and Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, all those stories when I was growing up. I loved those things. Thief of Baghdad. And I wanted that sort of a feel to it. Like you go back and you watch the old Thief of Baghdad movie from, I think it's the 40s, and it felt magical. And this movie didn't. I mean, the trailer didn't.
And we are just talking about the trailer. We're just talking about the trailer.
Just the trailer. Yeah. It didn't feel magical to me. I didn't feel John, I didn't feel magic, and I wanted to feel magic, damn it.
Yeah, I think the genie looked better than he did before.
Yeah.
I think the song things were nice. This is the best thing they've put out. I believe the movie will be good. I'm holding on to faith that the movie will be good. But I'm not basing that, though, on the trailer. I'm just saying, I just don't like the trailer. And a lot of you guys at home right now are like jumping on and saying how much you really like this trailer. And that's great. I wish I shared that enthusiasm. I really do, because I'm cheering for this film. it didn't work for me. I just gotta be honest. It did not work for me. And I'm hoping that when we walk into to see the movie, that this will be another one of those cases where, hey, we've seen lots of great trailers to horrible movies and lots of terrible trailers to really good movies. I mean, Edge of Tomorrow, anybody, right? So I'm hoping that's going to be the case here. But what do you guys think about the new Aladdin trailer? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, with that down, let's now get on to our main topics today. And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. See, you guys select them by sending in your topics and questions by going to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. When you get there, you'll see a form. You just fill out the form and hit submit, and then maybe you'll see your question or topic pop up here on the John Campea Show. With that down and out of the way, let's get to our first email today. And our first email today comes to us from Jose, who writes, I've been using Cinemia for about 4 months. I just got a notification saying that my account has been terminated. The worst part is that they didn't say why. I followed all the rules and was always careful when purchasing tickets. Have you guys heard anything about this? Well, Jose, as a matter of fact, yeah, you're not the only one. As a matter of fact, a lot of people have been waking up getting notifications that their Cinemia accounts have been terminated by Cinemia without much explanation at all. Now, Cinemia has put out the following statement. Now, by the way, I should mention, for those of you who don't know what Cinemia is a alternative to MoviePass. You pay a monthly fee for the card. It gets you into a certain amount of movies per month. And quite frankly, I've always thought it was the superior card to MoviePass. I actually happen to carry a Cinemia card. I'm a Cinemia member myself. But a lot of people have been waking up and finding their things terminated. Here's what Cinemia had to say in an official statement. They wrote this. Now, this is taken from Engadget. In response to a request for comment, Cinemia said that it has uncovered more than 1,000 variations of fraud and has improved its fraud detection system accordingly, and that it detected fraudulent activities by a number of users whose memberships have been subsequently terminated due to violation of the terms of service. That said, it's unclear why a number of seemingly well-behaved members are being subjected to these same terminations. So, basically, there's been a few things going on here with Cinemia recently. They have been trying to crack down on making sure people are using their card properly, like the way their card is supposed to be used, by not buying tickets for other people with your card, unless you're allowed to bring a guest, but not by buying a ticket for they wanted you now to submit identification to prove you are who you are because they've been a victim of fraud. And I'll say this. This isn't a situation like MoviePass, where MoviePass, their whole business model was based on mob tactics. Right. See, the MoviePass, the way I interpreted it at any rate, MoviePass's whole business plan was based on trying to use gangster strong-arm tactics. Our business philosophy, our goal here, our strategy, MoviePass's was to get so many members, even if it was at a ridiculously low price that we couldn't possibly sustain, that we could blackmail studios and movie theaters into working with us, or we would withhold our customers from them. That's underhanded, dirty business, and I'm glad they failed. Cinemia never had that. Cinemia was just, hey, let's just build a model and let's see if it can work. And it cannot work if anybody's using it fraudulently. But I'll say this. As somebody who's been a very satisfied Cinemia, I've never had any problems with Cinemia myself. And I have no problem with them taking steps to try to ensure that their system isn't being gamed. I'm okay with that. But if you're going to start terminating users, which you may have a right to do because of your terms of service, if you're going to start terminating users who have been your customers, who have been paying the monthly fee, you at least owe them a damn explanation. You want to terminate them? Fine. Give them an explanation and give them a process by which they can appeal it.
Sure.
To show, wait a minute, you're saying I used my card fraudulently at the Philadelphia Cineplex 5? I don't live in Philadelphia. You know, you just terminated them without any recourse, without any system to acknowledge, hey, maybe we terminated you incorrectly. Maybe there's an explanation for this. But with no question, no communication, no explanation, to just terminate, that's unacceptable. It's not dirty and underhanded, but it's unacceptable and bad business practice. And this is coming from a guy who has been a fairly happy cinema. Now, I use A-list 99% of the time now, but once in a while I'm not close to an AMC theater and I need to go to a different theater and I pull up my Cinemia card. And I've always been happy with it. But this is not right. This is unacceptable. Rob, you're hearing about this situation here. What's your response to it?
Well, again, these kinds of draconian measures, it's very Kafkaesque, like, like the trial where a poor hapless soul, somebody who's abiding by the rules and who might fall into a suspected category. You're now a suspect because of something you did might have looked hinky and it wasn't your fault. And then you get terminated. I mean, it's right out of something like the TV show The Prisoner, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's weird. And for a company to just do that to people without explanation is bad business. You're never going to believe in that company again. It's why I collect physical media, John, because one day they're just going to terminate those movies of yours that are digitally out there.
I'm not quite sure how the Cinemia situation connects, but I'll allow it. Please.
But I mean,
continue.
it's draconian. You can't. Yeah. If you're a like, these probably are nice, good people that are using their service the way they're supposed to, and because of something they unknowingly did or unwittingly did, they get canceled. And that's not good. With no explanation, then you can't call up and find out, hey, what did I do wrong? I mean, at least they could send you something and say you did this wrong, and you can go, no, I didn't.
And look, And I'm sure there are real situations where, yes, there were customers that were gaming the system and were violating the terms of use, and they got terminated. No question. I'm absolutely 100% positive that's true. But you have to take measure in dealing with that problem. You have to take measures to ensure you're going to protect your good customers who have just been, hey, I've been a customer of yours for 8 months. I've been paying every week. Or every month I go to my movies and I'm during service, and then just bam, you get hit with a termination hammer and no explanation.
Right.
I mean, that's just, I get it. It would take hassle to give notifications, but if you're going to terminate a customer, you owe them the common decency of an explanation.
Sure.
And to have in place a appeal system. Say, hey, if you think you were terminated incorrectly, please click this button, fill out this form, and we'll have one of our representatives review your situation.
Yeah.
And I know that costs money to do, but you owe it to your customers. And anyway, I hope Cinemia, this is something that can kill a company. And I really hope they learn from this. I hope they can correct this situation quickly and get back to being a good service, because this looks bad on them. I'll be straight up. This looks bad.
I keep this next to my desk. I keep it here as a reminder.
Right beside your Blockbuster card.
Yeah, it's a reminder of how you don't do business. And I had an annual. I got it for Christmas. It was it was paid annually, and it's not even worth, paper is worth more than that card now.
Yeah.
And
all right, let's move on now to the second email today. And our second email today comes to us from Brady Vicker, who writes, "Greetings, gentlemen. There just aren't enough words to describe how stupid excited I am for Game of Thrones, and also how sad I am that this is the end. Anyway, one of the things I've been excited about is that each episode was basically going to be movie length. But today I read that the first 2 episodes are regular length, under an hour. What gives? Why only have 6 episodes in the final season if they're not going to be longer than normal?" All right, thanks a lot for the email, Brady. And Rob, what Brady is referring to is, as we all know, Game of Thrones final season is coming. It's only going to be 6 episodes. And what the word has been for a while is that each episode is going to be movie length. And that's
right.
What kind of the common refrain has been throughout this whole thing. Well, it's now official. The first episode of season 6 is going to be 54 minutes. The second episode of season 6 is going to be 58 or something like that. Both basically regular length episodes is what they have always been. Now, that does not mean episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6 are just going to be regular length. But what we're hearing now is that those episodes are going to be 80 minutes in length. Not quite movie length, but pretty close. Certainly closer to movie length than to a television episode length, right? So that is happening. So I don't get too worked up about the first couple of episodes being that short. But it does kind of put a spotlight, Rob, on the whole thing that this common misconception that's been floating around the fandom has been each episode's going to be like the length of a full movie. Apparently not. Rob, I don't think this is that big of a deal. Like, this is just the first 2 episodes. They're going to be a little bit shorter than what people are expecting. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not kind of affecting my enthusiasm for it. But I know you're a harder core Game of Thrones fan than I am, and I know you've been looking forward to the season even more than me. You hear about this. Does it bother you? Is it absolutely nothing? Is it a little bit concerning? How do you feel about it?
No, it really doesn't bother me because that's been the format of Game of Thrones has been hour-long episodes from the beginning. So, I know that we're going to get 6 episodes, but I wasn't expecting them to just cheat and basically give us 8 episodes by making the other episodes longer. I think last season there were certain logistical issues in terms of storylines about how fast could ravens fly and how fast could dragons fly from one place to another. And to expedite the storytelling process, they had to sort of compress those things, and it strained credulity in the episodes. And I think that was, in fact, problematic a bit. But I think with this, the pacing of these 6 episodes, the relentless apocalyptic nature of what we're going to see, I trust that the producers are going to give us the best Game of Thrones possible. I mean, I don't think that any television producers in the history of the medium have as much pressure on them as Weiss and Benioff do to stick this landing. I mean, they have to stick a landing like no dragon has landed anywhere before. And I trust that's why they've been given the extra time. It's been almost 2 years. I'm sure that in the edit bay, they have crafted these episodes with maximum loving care, which in my mind means, dude, I'm excited. I can't wait. I mean, again, April 14th, the day before tax day, we are getting Thrones, and that is almost just literally a month away. I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
April's going to be a big month, man.
April's Shazam, Hellboy, Thrones, Avengers Endgame. I mean, unbelievable. My mother's 80th birthday. Woohoo!
The beginning of May, there's going to be like millions of nerds across America stepping out into the sun for the first time in weeks, going,
yes, I know,
because
right?
it's going to be a special month, man. It's going to be a special month. All right, let's move on now to our third email today. And our third email today comes to us from Tamar Bierman, who writes, I just wasn't ready for the Stan Lee cameo in Captain Marvel. I mean, I knew it was coming, but I wasn't ready. I started crying right away. With Stan gone and knowing that was the last time we'd see him cameo in the Marvel world, it added a little more sadness to it for me. Do you think they'll find some way to continue to honor Stan in upcoming MCU movies? Thank you. Well, first of all, Tamar, thank you for sharing those sentiments. I think you just shared sentiments that a lot of us share together. But I've got good news for you. That scene with Stan, the cameo with Stan in Captain Marvel, and we won't go into what it is just in case there's still many of you who haven't seen it yet. That wasn't the last one. That wasn't the last one. We're going to see him at least a couple of more times in this movie. Now, we actually talked about this like shortly after Stan died. We talked about the fact that they had shot a number of his cameos in advance. And he had cameos kind of blocked off and shelved and ready to go.
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige this week actually confirmed, I think he was being interviewed by Entertainment Tonight, and Kevin Feige confirmed that, oh yeah, you're going to see Stan in Endgame. And he said, we've got a couple banked, but we are getting close to the end of the ones that we have. So I think minimum that means we got his cameo for Endgame. We've got his cameo for Spider-Man Far From Home. And I think there may be even a possibility they got one more banked that they can use beyond. I don't know that for sure, but at least we can say this. That wasn't the last time we're going to see Stan. So, Rob, first of all, does it make you feel better knowing we're still going to get a couple Stan cameos? But at some point, Robert, they are going to run out of those Stan Lee cameos that they have banked. What do you see them doing moving forward to continue to honor Stan? Or do they just say, no, we're going to maintain the specialness of the ones we did by having those be the only ones? Or do you think they're going to continue it? How are they going to approach that?
I think, well, first of all, you told me that, and you said on the show that everybody should be sitting in their seats before Captain Marvel starts.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Now, I'm not going to say what happens because I don't want to ruin it for those who haven't seen Captain Marvel yet, but I had no clue what you meant by that. And when I sat down, I was really taken aback when the movie
Wasn't it
started.
great?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it was in terms of honoring the legacy of Marvel's characters and cinematic universe. It was incredible. Now, I think, look, Stan has left us. He's up in the great beyond, probably with the Beyonder, and saying Excelsior on a daily basis. But I think, he is gone, and it's great that we've got banked. I mean, to see him in Endgame is a great thing, and Spider-Man Far From Home, of course. But I think it's time. He's passed on, and it's the legacy that he's left us all and these characters in this cinematic universe. I mean, $18 billion over 21 films, and basically it all began in the minds of Stan and Jack and other artists. And I think it's okay that we don't have Stan Lee cameos moving forward, because all good things must come to an end.
Do you think, though, like, here's a thought I have. I said this before, and I still kind of think that maybe moving forward, like, what I don't think I want to see is a CGI animated Stan Lee, unless it's a CGI movie. Unless it's a CGI movie, like,
right.
like Big Hero 6 or something like that, or Spider-Man. That's fine. But what I could see them doing is, at some point as characters are walking down a sidewalk, they pass by a Stan Lee billboard or something like that. Or
right.
Or as some characters are talking in a living room, that old Stan Lee interview is playing on the television just in the background. Like, I could still see them doing something like that. Like, don't you think that's something they could still probably do if they wanted to? And then how often do you do it, or how blatant do you make it?
I think that's actually a really cool idea. I'd never thought about that, but yeah, I think that's something that they could do. But again, it'll end up being 23 movies that Stan has had cameos in the MCU, and then all the movies outside of the MCU he cameoed in, like Deadpool. The movies themselves are a testament to Stan Lee.
Good point.
And I think as they move forward, we're still honoring his legacy. We're still seeing his characters, and it's kind of weird. I think it's weird if you keep doing that and he's not here. There's something strange to me. I mean, life moves on, and I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
Let's move on now with the fourth email today. And our fourth email today comes to us from Rob McPherson, who writes, I've never understood why more people don't like Tron Legacy. I thought that movie was sick as hell. The visuals, the music, the ideas, to me, it's one of my favorite all-time movies. Did you see the producers say that they're still working on getting a new one made? Do you think it could actually happen? What would it take to get it done this many years after the last one came out? Thanks for all you do, and keep bringing that filthy. All right, thanks a lot for the email, Rob. And so what Rob is talking about is that in promoting the new Dumbo movie, which he's also a producer, one of the producers of Tron Legacy was asked about, hey, are we going to get another Tron film? Is it ever going to happen? And this is what he had to say. The producer's name is Justin Springer, and he said this: look, I will never stop being interested in making a Tron movie. I love the opportunity to do it. It's a title that never really goes away internally. There's always people around the company who like it a whole lot. And so we'll see what happens. It would be great to see the opportunity it would be great to get the opportunity to do it again. So it's just about finding the right time, right script, and the right people at the studio saying yes. And that again is from one of the producers, Justin Springer, who's currently got his Dumbo movie coming out. Rob, you're hearing these comments and these sorts of ideas. Should they do another Tron movie? And will they ever do another Tron movie? What do you think?
Well, I'm a huge Tron fanatic. As many people might know, if you buy the Blu-ray of the original Tron, I had produced and directed a feature-length documentary on the making of Tron for its 20th anniversary in 2002. It came out in famously in 1982, and then they brought that documentary forward on the Blu-ray. So I'm a huge Tron fanatic. Now, I have to say, I was a little disappointed in Tron Legacy for mostly because in the plot of that movie, the grid that the Jeff Bridges, that the Flynn character created, was cut off from the rest of the internet. And, Tron sort of conceptualized the internet now. And I didn't think that Tron Legacy went into what does the internet mean to us today. I mean, it was sort of, and I think there's a lot. First of all, the Daft Punk score is amazing. There's a lot of cool stuff in the movie, but I just felt that it didn't have any commentary about how the internet has now affected humankind, which that's just me. But I would love to see a Tron 3. I think the whole idea of it is, sure, is it goofy that we've anthropomorphized programs? Greetings programs, and all programs are like people that drive cars or fly in solar sailors through the confines of the digital world. But I still love it, and I would love to return to that world again. I would love to see, I know Flynn's no longer with us, but why not? He's digital. He can come back. I mean, bring the dude back to the Tron universe. That's what I say. And I think they should do it. I think they should absolutely. Tron should be a huge franchise. But
yeah, okay. However, it's not. I mean, it's not a huge franchise. And look, all due respect to all of us who loved looking at Olivia Wilde in this movie.
And that was all of us. I have a great Hot Toys figure of Tron, by the way, of Tron.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they made a motorcycle and Garrett Hedlund. It's good stuff.
I'd like to see that sometime. And look, I was stoked as anybody else when Disney was putting out Tron Legacy. I was really, frankly, underwhelmed by it.
Yeah,
I was really, and I completely agree. I mean, the score was great, and there were concepts in it that were great. And I kind of like, some people were freaked out. I like the de-aging of Jeff Bridges. I thought that was pretty. What was it? Clue. That was the name of the character he played. Clue. I love that they were alluding to the original Tron in it. All that kind of stuff. I love the mythology they built of the Olivia Wilde character. There were some really good ideas, but ideas don't make the movie. Right. Ideas is what you base a movie on, and then you got to build that movie. And to me, I'll just be honest with you. When I watched Tron, I never once thought, like after seeing the film, I never once came out of it going, oh my God, I got to see the next one. I got to see the next one. And now we're at the point here, Rob, where, what are we, 7, 8 years removed?
Yeah.
From the last Tron one? And I mean, let's be clear here. That last Tron movie made $400 million. That's fine, except it costs them like $150, $160, $170 million to make. That means I don't think it broke even. It probably lost the company money. And Disney's not in. And I just don't see any compelling evidence here that would suggest if they make another Tron right now, this one will make money. Based on what? I don't see any evidence pointing to that. So, look, I would love for it to happen because I know a lot of people love the franchise. So for them, I would love to see it happen. I got to admit, I'm very lukewarm on it. I could really care less if they made one again or if they didn't. But at the end of the day, I don't think they will because they rolled the dice on that last one. I think they felt like they did a pretty good job, although I was underwhelmed by it. I just don't think it will. So bottom line, Rob, whether we want it to or not, do you think it will happen? Obviously, if you say ever, sure, Tron will get rebooted 50 times, ever. But like in the next 10 years, could you see another Tron movie actually being made in the next 10 years?
Probably not. Just for the reasons you stated. I mean, it comes down to simple, it's academic. I mean, you look at the box office, you look at how much they spent on it, and there's really, look, I was surprised they made a second Pacific Rim. I love the first Pacific Rim, and the toys sold well, and they continue to sell well, but it was not for everybody. and I Tron isn't for everyone either. And I also think one of the real problems with Tron Legacy, I think, is that it didn't look, we're all children of the information age and the internet age. And Tron Legacy Thanos. And yes, children of Thanos. And it had nothing to say as far as our world is concerned. I don't think it's weird. The best science fiction, fantasy, and the best genre material has something to say about the world that we live in. Really, it has some great science fiction is always, it always connects back to our world somehow. And Tron Legacy should have been a movie that connected with us, and it strangely didn't. It strangely had no commentary about our world, and it didn't resonate. It was fun to watch, but it was very distancing as a movie. You're watching it and it's like it didn't really connect. You know, the characters were okay, this is kind of cool to look at, and the Daft Punk score is awesome, but it didn't mean anything. If that kind of commentary mean, if a movie doesn't mean something, if it doesn't connect on more than just a visual level, it's not going to continue. It doesn't resonate beyond itself, and I think that's the problem with the Tron franchise.
All right, let's move on now to the final email of the day, and then we'll go on and take some of your guys' live questions. And the final email today comes to us from our friend Ronald Dwight, who writes, "Greetings and salutations, John. So, the Russo brothers said that Thanos is, quote-unquote, permanently damaged in the Infinity War commentary. That, combined with the fact that we haven't seen any Thanos sightings in the trailer, could it be possible that there is another villain in Endgame other than Big Purple?" I like that, Big Purple. Perhaps a character that benefited from the snap and doesn't want it fixed. There's no Doctor Doom or Galactus in the MCU, so my question to you guys is, who are some possible villains for Endgame? Now, this is something we've been talking about around here for a while, is that, look, it's possible that Thanos is in as much of this movie as he was in Infinity War, and he's a dominant player in it. I suspect, and I know a bunch of you guys suspect as well, though I don't know this, I'm just guessing, I suspect he's not going to play that big of a role in the film, which leaves open the idea of, okay, then is there another villain? And if there's another villain, who on earth could that villain be? Could it be Ronan the Accuser come back? Could it be a lot of people speculated a reconstituted Ultron? Other theories. Rob, you're hearing about all this stuff and you think about Endgame coming up and it's so close now. Is Thanos the main villain? And if not, who are some legitimate possibilities that could take the form of the main antagonist in Endgame if you had to guess and speculate?
There's one. There's only one.
Only one?
There's only one villain that it can be. And if you're an Avengers comic fan, there's a triumvirate of recurring villains in the Avengers universe. There is Thanos, there is Ultron, and there is Nathaniel Richards. Who is Nathaniel Richards, you might ask? AKA Rama Tut, AKA the Scarlet Centurion, AKA Immortus, Iron Lad, Mr. Griffin, or as we know him, Kang the Conqueror. It's got to be Kang. Kang is a time traveler. He's been around for a very long time. He's butted heads against the Avengers on numerous occasions. Now, whether we know, I think it's pretty much a certainty that we are going to see time travel in Endgame. We know from behind the scenes photos that there are recreations of scenes from other, like the original Avengers. I mean, we've seen pictures of Steve Rogers in his Captain America costume from the first movie. And if there's time travel involved in any way, shape, or form in this movie, Kang has got to be in the movie. I mean, he's the next obvious big bad. Now, what's interesting is he'd have to be played by somebody, even if he's just a CG creation like Thanos, who was played so brilliantly by Josh Brolin. They've kept, if this is in fact the case, if Kang is in this movie, or whatever villain is in this movie besides Thanos, what a great secret they have kept. And I think there's a reason why the trailers haven't shown us shit. I mean, we've seen a Thanos skeleton. We've seen his armor hung up on a pole, you know, out in the field,
like a scarecrow.
It's the Thanos scarecrow, where he's growing his crops now, because, you know, once you're Thanos and you've killed half the beings in the universe, what do? You grow vegetables. And I think that I honestly think, with all of my heart, the same way I believe that we're going to see Galactus. No, never mind. I think Kang is in this movie. I really do. I think it's going to be, if we get the quote unquote bang trailer and we get it in April or whenever we're going to get it, I think we're going to see Kang in that trailer.
And
whatever
we'll
villain,
enough.
we're going to see, and they're going to unveil it, and people are going to be like, holy shit, Kang is played by, it's going to blow our minds.
Javier Bardem is Kang the Conqueror.
Maybe he's playing the same villain he played in No Country for Old Men, and he's going to kill people with a cattle prod or his cattle killer, whatever that thing's called. I mean, I think it's got to be Kang, man. It's got to be Kang.
There are a couple things that we got to be very, very careful of here. I always tell people, I've been saying this for years, be very cautious, because what we as fans do, we'll see a leaked set photo.
Right.
And we will start to build, this is what we do. We start to build and construct entire movie-sized theories and assumptions based around an out-of-context, candid, leaked behind-the-scenes photo. One of the best examples of this, I remember when Batman vs. Superman was in development, and a picture got leaked of Scoot McNairy standing on set with green leggings.
Right.
Like regular clothes on top, and then like from the knees down, green leggings. And the narrative instantly all over the web was confirmed. Scoot McNairy is the Flash. And there goes, because why else would you have green on his legs? And this is what happens when we construct, and we all do it, me included, we construct this entire philosophy and theory structure around one leaked photo. And granted, there is leaked photos that came out from the set that would, in one way, suggest maybe time travel is involved. But like in the Scoot McNairy situation, there are 1,000 other possible explanations for it. And I think a lot of us, me included, have kind of bought in on some level or another that pretty much confirmed that we're going to get time travel in these movies. But we have to stay cognizant of the fact that maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's another explanation for that. Maybe it's a quick, dream sequence of what could have been or what would be different. I mean, we just don't know. There's a lot of different explanations. If there is time travel in Avengers Endgame, the Kang character does seem to make sense. It does seem to make a lot of sense. I still don't know how on earth they would have kept that under wraps if you have the main villain is Kang and they just never got out. I will concur with you, Rob. It would be one of the greatest coups that the Marvel's ever been able to do as far as keeping things under wraps and keeping things secret. So I don't know. I still think the main bad is going to be Thanos, or the circumstances themselves will be ultimately the villain.
Right.
But
I
Kang
agree
is a possibility.
I agree with you. If there is no new big bad, it's the circumstances itself. But then if that's the case, and look, Kevin Feige has said that they've modeled this after the final episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. All good things. And it was a situation that was brought about and by Picard himself, and he had to solve this. But I just don't see that as being satisfying from a comic book movie point of view. They need a villain of some kind. And what's really interesting is the time stream is very, imagine if you're Kang, let's say you're living in the future, and one day half the people just vanish. Like what if Thanos' snap, if there's a continuum, they haven't defined the rules of time in the MCU. They kind of have started with Doctor Strange. We saw how there could be causality or time loops. Well, what if there's time as a continuum and all moments are happening at the same time, and Kang in our future, suddenly half the people in his time stream disappear, and he comes back and pinpoints in the multiverse, where did this event occur that wasn't supposed to occur? And he comes back to be like, what's up? What happened? And suddenly he's the one that has to preserve some, I don't know. I mean, whatever it's going to be. I just think
there's a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah.
Lots of different possibilities.
Dude, we're a month and a half away.
We're going to find out soon enough. All questions will be answered soon enough. All right, guys. That will do it for all of our main topics today. Thank you guys for sending those in. Now, just before we get to our live questions, because we like to save a little bit of time and take some live questions here on the John Campea Show, there are a bunch of other things in the world of movie news and entertainment news that we don't have time to make main topics, but I want to make sure you guys get caught up to date with what's going on. So here's today's installment of the Movie News Feed. Check it out. First up, Dave Franco has gradually been establishing his own name over the last few years out from behind his more famous brother's shadow, and now he's set to make his own directorial debut with his new horror film, The Rental, that he's also co-wrote. And he's starting off strong with casting, as it's been announced that Franco's wife, Alison Brie, who stars in Glow on Netflix, and Downton Abbey and Beauty and the Beast star Dan Stevens have signed on to star in the film. Dave Franco was seen on screen in 2017 with his brother James in The Disaster Artist, and most recently had a role in If Beale Street Could Talk. Next up, as many of you know, the DC streaming service is preparing for a Swamp Thing series, and now they have added another cast member who is basically royalty to the franchise. It's being reported that 1982 Swamp Thing feature film actress Adrienne Barbeau has joined the new series as well. From coming soon, Barbeau is best known for her roles in many horror films such as John Carpenter's The Fog opposite Jamie Lee Curtis, George A. Romero's horror film anthology Creep Show that was written by Stephen King, and the post-apocalyptic sci-fi film Escape from New York. The new Swamp Thing pilot will debut at some point in 2019. Next up, as we all patiently wait for Shazam to debut on April 5th, a bunch of fans got excited at what they thought was the voice of beloved animated Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy in the most recent trailer. However, it turns out that wasn't him. From comicbook.com, there's a scene in the clip where the transformed Billy Batson tosses a large Batman doll, which then utters the phrase, "I am Batman." Many fans thought the voice belonged to the seminal Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy, but director David Sandberg made it clear that there's a new person voicing the character. That person is the movie's sound supervisor, Bill Dean. I'm sure he'll sound great anyway. Next up, it's been 8 years since Harry Potter star Daniel Radcliffe last wore the glasses and lightning scar in one of the most popular film franchises of all time. In that time, he certainly kept himself busy, but never in anything that would be considered a blockbuster or a major franchise. Why? Radcliffe explained in a recent interview that he doesn't purposefully avoid big projects. He said the following: "It's not a deliberate decision to stay away from blockbuster films. I go where the scripts are. It's hard to get anyone to spend money on scripts that are too big of a risk. A lot of the big studios, I find the scripts are not as challenging or weird or interesting as the stuff they make in the indie world or even in the TV world. So, the things that I gravitate to, so far, they just happen to be in the indie world." Radcliffe can next be seen in the upcoming indie film, Guns Akimbo. And finally, the Russo brothers and Tom Holland are teaming up again, except this time, it isn't in anything that even remotely looks like the MCU or Spider-Man. According to reports, the Russos' first movie after Endgame is a film called Cherry and will star Tom Holland. The film is described like this: "It's 2003, and as a college freshman in Cleveland, our narrator is adrift until he meets Emily. The two of them experience an instant life-changing connection. But when he almost loses her, he chooses to make an indelible statement. He joins the army. The outcome will not be good for either of them. As a medic in Iraq, he is unprepared for the realities that await him. He and his fellow soldiers huff computer duster, abuse painkillers, and watch porn. Many of them die. When he comes home, his PTSD is profound. As the opioid crisis sweeps through the Midwest, it drags both him and Emily along with it. As their addiction worsens, and with their money drying up, he stumbles into what seems like the only possible solution: robbing banks." Cherry is set to begin production this summer. And that'll do it for today's installment of the Movie News Feed. All right, and now you are all caught up to date on all the stuff going on in the world of movies and movie news. And now with that being said, guys, let's take some time and go over and take some live questions from you guys in the audience. And let's start things off here with Ben Hayusa, who writes, "Not sure before the show starts if the title is expressing excitement or disgust, but this Aladdin trailer is far better. Will had me on board." I will say this, Ben. I agree that this trailer is better. It's better. better
Yeah.
than the other ones have been, no doubt. But again, it just still didn't really work for me. And Rob, I don't think it necessarily worked all that well for you either.
No, but it definitely was better. But again, it didn't feel magical to me. Like I said earlier, I wanted magic, John, and I wasn't getting the magic that I hoped for. But that doesn't mean the movie isn't going to be magical. I mean, I'll still go see it.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people like Ben, they did find it magical, and that's great. It just didn't work for us. Here's hoping that the movie's going to be really good. Anthony Cullen writes, after all he's done, McGregor got arrested for that. Yeah, so I always want to say Hugh McGregor. Conor McGregor got arrested again in Florida for like some guy at a hotel took a picture of him. McGregor took his phone away from him, threw it on the ground, and smashed it, and got arrested. So, he's not going to do any jail time for that whatsoever. But yeah, once again, he gets himself in trouble. All right. I'm going to really try hard with this name. Chandrasekhara writes, imagine Robert frozen in his seat after watching Endgame with his mouth wide open, and the cleaning team in the theater picks him up and deposits him at the lost items counter. John comes to collect him. John walks up by whispering, Phase 4 movie slate has been announced by Feige. That would be an interesting day, Rob. And I'm sure it's going to probably take a little while to peel you out of your seat after you see Endgame.
I'm hoping. One of the greatest movie-going experiences of my life was sitting next to the late great John Schnepp and watching Infinity War. And because we kept like looking over to each other with our mouths wide open, like, holy shit, can you believe that just happened? Like when Red Skull shows up, we're losing our minds.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that Endgame provides that exact kind of jolt. And you probably will have to come collect me from the lost.
Right.
I can imagine my face will be frozen, and you'll have to find me in the lot. You're like, why weren't you on the show yesterday? And you'll come to the theater looking for me.
Still at the Chinese. Still at the Chinese. All right, next up, Edgar Navarro writes, I love this Aladdin trailer, cannot wait. And see, yeah, that's the thing. That's the great thing about movies. Look, I watch it. It didn't work for me. But clearly it worked for you, a lot of you guys. And I will agree that it is the best one yet. Again, to me, it just felt thin, but I'm glad you guys are liking it. All right, next one comes to us from Frost 1977. Liked seeing Adrian Paul on Arrow. I always liked Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. Lots better than Connor. Like seeing in the fourth film where Duncan became the one. Yeah, to me, no. There's only one Highlander, and that's Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. Played by the great Christopher Lambert, who right now is on Blacklist. I believe you can see Christopher Lambert on Blacklist. But it was still cool seeing Duncan MacLeod show up there. But make no mistake, he is the Walmart MacLeod. Duncan is the Walmart version of MacLeod. The Macy's one is Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod, the original Highlander.
There can be only one.
There can be only one, and it's Connor MacLeod. Curtis Lopez writes, new Aladdin trailer makes movie look so much better. Still not feeling Jafar, though. Not intimidating enough. I will actually agree on that. Now, Rob, we didn't talk about Jafar much, but the Jafar, like in the animated thing, there was something even in his voice that was very menacing, authoritative, menacing. I didn't feel either of those things. It's a very small sample size. Maybe totally not getting the full picture. I fully acknowledge that, but it did seem like a weak villain, right?
Jafar seemed like the guy you meet in a club who starts hitting on your girlfriend without realizing you're there with her. That's how the Jafar character. I mean, I like that actor very much, but he seemed way too young, and he seemed like you could take him out with one punch. I felt no menace from him at all.
Again, we acknowledge small sample size, maybe comes across totally different in the movie. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he worked very well in the trailer.
No.
All right. Curtis Lopez writes, did you see Gal Gadot's classy Instagram post congratulating Brie Larson on the success of Captain Marvel? But of course, the comments in the post about it, idiots have to make it a Marvel versus DC thing, intentionally/unintentionally missing the point. Yeah, and we saw, of course, the director of Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins, the other day, before the movie came out, posted this big post of support for Captain Marvel. Very classy of her, and posted also a picture, an animated picture of Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman flying side by side. Gal Gadot put up a thing congratulating them on the success and the job that they did in Captain Marvel, and putting up another picture of Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel side by side. It was very classy. It's really a shame when the heads of the studios, in this case DC and Warner Brothers and Disney and with Marvel, act so much more classy than the fan base does. Because the fan base it's just disgraceful in some ways that we kind of handle this. But hey, it is what it is. Did you have a chance to see either of those two social media posts that either Patty Jenkins or Gal Gadot did, Rob?
Yeah, I saw them both. And the one that Patty Jenkins put up was drawn. It had that great piece of artwork where you had Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel soaring in the skies together. I mean, dude, when I was growing up as a kid, while I would argue with my friends across the street if the Avengers could kick the Justice League's ass, we still all loved both Marvel and DC. There was no the heroes. The heroes were who we argued over. Like, was Silver Surfer as powerful as Superman or not? I mean, but we still loved it all. This idea that there are Marvel and there are DC fans, the same way that people talk about Star Trek and Star Wars fans, baffles me. I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't like both. Where it confuses
me is like, okay, like I am clearly more of a Star Wars fan than I am of a Star Trek fan. Okay. Sure. But it's these people who think there's a rule book that if you like Star Wars, you have to hate Star Trek. If you like DC, you're supposed to hate Marvel. And it's like, what kind of idiotic thinking is that? It's like, if you like DC and don't like Marvel, that's fine. If you like Marvel and don't like DC, that's fine. But there seems to be this inbred notion that, oh, if you like one, you have to hate the other. And it's like, come on, really? And it's too bad that when you get people posting classy stuff like that you have to get, the basement dwellers flood into their comment section and start trying to turn it into something toxic. It's unfortunate. It's from both sides. So that is unfortunate, but I hope these guys continue, both on DC side and on the Disney Marvel side, to continue to set good examples and show, hey, we all just want to have good, fun movies. You can like one over the other, but let's just all have fun. I mean, and I hope people start getting the message. Okay. Next up, Jay Miller writes, you mentioned that you're friends with Mark Neveldine and Brian Taylor. I am, actually. What did you think of their Ghost Rider film? I found it to be crazy but fun. Crazy is certainly a good word to ascribe to Mark and Brian's movies. They are nutty. They're absolutely nutty. I'm going to be honest with you, though. I didn't like their Ghost Rider movie. I mean, clearly I wanted to. And they got another really cool guy in it. Johnny Whitworth is in it. And I really like Johnny Whitworth, too. But I wasn't a fan of the movie. Yeah, so there's that. I mean, these are two of the guys along with Milo Ventimiglia. It was these two guys and Milo Ventimiglia that are the ones responsible for me meeting Anne. So it was through them that I kind of met Anne. And so I owe a life debt to Milo Ventimiglia, to Mark Neveldine, and to Brian Taylor. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be indebted to these guys. But I can't say that I like their Ghost Rider movie. Let's see. Saladad Deal writes, I actually really like this new Aladdin trailer, in my humble opinion. At least I get to see more Will Smith in action as a genie. I think he'll do fine. I think he'll do fine as genie, too. And I really like the whole, I mentioned this earlier, the transitioning of the CG blue genie to when he's supposed to be impersonating a human being. I like that they do that. It's going to give a little bit more grounding to the film as well. Again, my big thing is, just feels like a Lifetime movie of the week right now. The way it looked and felt, it felt thin and cheap. And look, again, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to believe that this movie is going to be good. But I got to look. My job here is to be honest and give you my honest opinion. That's my job. I wanted to love this Aladdin trailer. I wanted to love it. I've been cheering for it. And I hope the movie is great. And maybe I'll love the movie. But my job is to be honest with you with my opinion. And my honest opinion is, I did not think this was a very good trailer. Certainly better than the other ones. But I just got to call it as I see it. And I didn't think the trailer was very good, to be honest. It actually took some of my excitement for the movie away. And here's hoping that turns around, because I've been dying to see this movie and I love this director. So We'll see. All right, Anthony Cullen writes, are you caught up on The Walking Dead? It's not as good as it once was, but this season has been great, even though Rick is gone. Hashtag justice for Carl. I have not. No, I got caught up with Walking Dead until this season. And I have been very lukewarm on Walking Dead. Actually, I've never actually been a giant fan of The Walking Dead. Like, I would watch it, but I was never a big fan of it. And I have just felt no motivation to watch it this year. So I'm certainly not saying the show's not good now. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But no, to be frank with you, I haven't been keeping up with it. Rob, have you been watching Walking Dead? Have you ever watched Walking Dead?
I did watch Walking Dead. I have not caught up with it over the last 2 seasons. I love the comics. I read the first 100 issues of the comics, and the show just kind of grew repetitive to me. But people like it, and I haven't caught up.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. Tyler Yeats writes, I know this is mainly for movies, LOL, but I'm having a hard time deciding on whether or not I want to go to grad school. Well, Tyler, I'll tell you what I tell everybody. All other things being equal, do more education. When Ann and I were talking about, Ann is actually, once again, a USC student right now. Ann is back at USC again. She's going for her second master's degree right now. And as we were discussing it, what I always said is, hey, look, it's never a bad idea to make your resume look even better. And a lot of time with Ann's career, we've been very careful with her career over the past 10 years about, making decisions that make her the more standout person for the job she may want to get later on in life. Whether it was she was the political field rep for a congresswoman, she worked in the health industry with a massive healthcare company. She worked on transitioning things for Obamacare. She, working with a giant company like Hasbro and adding to her education. If it's doable and if you can do it, more education is always good. More education is always good. There's never a downside to having more education on your resume. But, you got to also take in mind whether your current life circumstances make that practical that you can do it. You don't want to bankrupt yourself doing it. But if you can, not knowing your particular situation, but my general starting point is more education is always good.
But if I could add one thing to that.
Yes.
If you're thinking about going to grad school and you're iffy on it.
Yes.
That's something that says something. If you're going to go to grad school, you got to go all in. You got to be enthusiastic about it. You got to jump in with both feet and go hard and wholeheartedly do it. Don't do it half-assed, because you're not going to get out of like Luke going into the cave in Empire Strikes Back. You get only what you take with you. What's in the cave, only what you take with you, Yep. And you gotta, if you're going to do it, man, you gotta be 100% and go hard and fierce and make it work for you.
All right, let's keep going here. Javier Rios 405 writes, the new Aladdin trailer was pretty good. I'm sold. And you know what? I think if you're just comparing it to the other ones, yep, it's pretty good. But I was surprised to see how many people online really like this trailer. But there are a lot of people are legitimately really liking this trailer, which makes me go, oh man, that just makes me wish I liked it even more, but I don't. Ben Rayner writes, I dug the trailer, best one yet. I completely agree. It is the best one yet. It is definitely the superior trailer. All right, next one. Suthius85, who sent a really nice super chat. Thank you so much, Suthius, for supporting the channel that way. Kudos to you, sir. Thank you. Tipping my hat to you. Anyway, Suthius writes, hey guys, I can't stand it when people say things like Robin Williams is rolling in his grave right now. Oh, I know what you mean, man. Because of Will Smith's Genie, or Stan Lee is rolling in his grave right now because of Captain Marvel. People need to go outside and get some fresh air. Suthius, I'll tell you why this thing always bothers me. And we see it all the time. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed the part where you hung out with Stan Lee for 5 years. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have forgot the part that you were roommates with Robin Williams for 10 years or something, that you would know what he does or does not approve of or like. And the presumption of people to make comments like that is ridiculous. It's and I'm completely with you, Suthius. It's tasteless to say something like that, especially when all you're basically saying is, oh, I don't like that thing, therefore Stan Lee is, and you're trying to ascribe and project your, pre-existing biases or whatever onto another person is ridiculous, particularly when it's somebody who's passed away. And it's not just laughable, it's actually also really tasty. I don't know, Rob, I'm sure you've heard people say stuff like this. How do you react when you hear people talking and using that kind of verbiage?
Well, I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, you know what Stan Lee's thinking about Captain Marvel if he was alive today? He'd be like, heck yeah, man, they made a Captain Marvel movie. How cool is that? Excelsior. Everyone should go see it. I mean, it's such a weird thing to me that think about the fact that Robin Williams did, how long ago did Aladdin come out? Almost 25 years ago?
Oh, don't remind me.
But the fact that they've now made a live action movie is a testament to what Robin Williams did in the first film. He's no longer with us, but the fact that Disney is now reinvigorating that film for a whole new generation of audiences, doing it in live action, sparing no expense, making it lavish. It's amazing that we're getting a live action Aladdin movie. And it's amazing that a star of Will Smith's caliber agreed to star in it. So this is what I don't understand. Like, I'm not saying that we have to accept everything that's shoved down our pie holes, because we don't. But it is amazing that these legacy properties are continuing to get made and remade. And I think it's incredible. And I think both Robin Williams and Stan Lee would be proud and honored that these things continue to happen.
Yeah. And by the way, we don't know them either. I mean, I hung out with Stan Lee at a couple of parties, but I don't know him. But I can say I imagine he'd be pretty happy. But I'm not going to say, I can tell you right now, Stan Lee would be selling all of his worldly possessions just to watch Captain Marvel 1,000 times and blah, blah, blah. I ain't going to go to that extent. I think he would like it, but I ain't going to say, all right, maybe he didn't. And it's cool to say, I don't know if Stan Lee would have liked that. That's fine too. But to say Stan Lee would be rolling in his grave, oh, come on. He looked pretty happy in the movie. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but he looked pretty happy in the movie.
Right.
Suthius, I think Suthius, what you do is you just roll your eyes and move on. And not even bother engaging it. Just roll your eyes and move on is probably the best thing to do. Okay, let's move on here. And thank you again, Suthius, for supporting the channel, man. Rushil P. writes, new Aladdin trailer will increase the anticipation. I hope you're right, Rushil. Because he follows up and says, I think the trailer looks great and got me more excited. I hope you're right. Because I'm cheering for this movie. I want it to do well. I mean, I love the Aladdin original. I'd love to see a great live screen adaptation. It would be great. All I can tell you is that it actually decreased my anticipation a little bit. And I hope I am in the minority. I hope I'm in the minority in that, and I hope it worked well for most people, and clearly it did for you, and that's a good sign. All right, Willow Yang writes, did Superman actually kill Zod in Superman 2? Hashtag Zod had it coming. Dan Wright, Zod had it coming. Well, that's a point of a lot of debate, because look, in the theatrical cut, in the official cut of the movie, yeah, Superman offs the Kryptonians. Zod and his followers, tosses them down the endless pit and basically, ending their lives. Now, there was, though, Rob, another cut. There was a different ending that had an added little scene that shows that Zod... How did it work out? Basically, they landed.
Right.
And were in some, do you remember how that was supposed to work?
It's funny. I only saw the Donner cut once, and I don't remember that. But I never thought Superman killed Zod or the Kryptonians. He threw them down the bottom. They were powerless and threw them down into the pit of the Fortress of Solitude. But I didn't think he killed them.
I think everybody assumed that was him killing them.
Yeah, but it's like they were depowered. He got into the crystal chamber and they were just humans and they posed no threat. And I never thought that, maybe that's just me, but I never thought that he killed them at the end of Superman 2.
I always did.
Yeah, he depowered them and turned them into human beings and tossed them
which
into the
made it even more stunning
shit.
that he depowered them. He was killing unpowered people.
Right.
Okay, you have no powers. You're helpless to me. Woo!
Yeah,
and
that's why I never thought he...
But I think most people did. So I don't know. I go on, yes, he killed them there. That's what I think, he killed them. But there's a discussion to be had there, and there's a debate to be had there, especially with the Donner cut and what they had changed. So, hey, your guess is as good as mine. All right, let's move on here. Next thing, but I like that hashtag Zod had it coming. Really Tired 64 writes, what would be the better fight? Ellen Ripley versus the T-1000 or Sarah Connor versus the Alien Queen? I don't know.
Sarah Connor, dude.
Think
Sarah
so?
Connor would kick Alien Queen ass.
Without the mech suit, though?
Yes, without the mech
think
suit.
so?
She doesn't
Without
need
the mech suit.
No, it doesn't need it.
Okay. I'll side with you on that one. Okay, let's move on here. James Hoffman writes, I take back what I said about Will Smith as Genie. He looks to be great in the new trailer. Movie looks fun and magical too. I can't wait. And look, there are a couple things I like in this trailer, and I think I'm liking Will Smith. I think it does reaffirm to me that he was probably not the right choice, but one of the right choices. I'm sure there are other guys that could have got that would have been good too, but he was definitely one of the right choices. And I think he's going to do well, and I do think his portrayal in the trailer is better than what we've had before, and I'm confident that he's going to do a good job as Genie. I'm confident of that. Again, my overall displeasure with the trailer is more about the overall feel of the trailer, but that's just
sure.
Me. Murray Reich writes, that whole New World song just gave me goosebumps. Great comeback trailer. Needed more menacing Jafar, though. Yeah, well, we talked about Jafar a little bit earlier, that we think that was one of the weak spots. I think even people who are appreciating and liking the trailer think maybe Jafar is a weak spot. But as somebody who didn't like the trailer, yeah, that whole New World part was pretty good. That was pretty damn good. And if that is, I believe that's Naomi Scott actually belting it out. Like, respect. If that's her like belting that out, because that sounded great, and it did give me that moment of nostalgia. That combined with the shot of the genie hand with the puppet strings on Aladdin dancing in the cave, that felt very nostalgic, very big motion picture to me. But that was definitely a highlight. Jared's Reviews writes, what is your favorite movie that won Best Picture at the Oscars in the last 10 years? Mine is Spotlight. Spotlight's awesome. I love that movie. Also, I like the new Aladdin trailer. I'm telling you, lots of people like this trailer, man. Lots of people like this trailer.
I know.
Rob, for the last 10 years, a lot of great films winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards. I'll tell you what my favorite one is. Out of the last 10 years, my favorite film that has won Best Picture, I got to go The King's Speech with Colin Firth, Jeffrey Rush. This is a movie that had prolonged scenes of just two men sitting down in a room in two chairs talking for prolonged periods of time, and I was glued and enraptured in it. I love The King's Speech so much. That I would say right now is my favorite. It's almost 10 years old, so it almost doesn't qualify, but it's still within 10 years. What would you say is like your favorite out of the last 10 years
I think
so?
Argo. Argo was my favorite.
So good.
I loved Argo. I mean, it's such a bonkers story, and it was because it's about a historical event that, you know, I remember the whole Iranian hostage crisis really resonated with me as a kid. You know, I was like 12, and I was fascinated by the whole thing. And, you know, I remember they were taken hostage, and it was after a year. I remember thinking, oh my God, like being held hostage for a year, that's just the most horrible thing I could possibly imagine. And the movie really delved into a part of history that I didn't know anything about, and it was fascinating to watch.
All right, let's move on here. Next one comes from Tortimer the Gray Gaming writes, Fury and Goose short film. They go all Marley and me, and we watch them enjoy life, and then they punch us in the feels when Fury has to put him down. Maybe explains why Fury is so much more jaded and tough in '08. Okay, so listen, obviously can't talk too much about that. I can't talk too much about Fury and Goose because we don't want to get into any spoilers with Captain Marvel. But I will say this. I've been saying since I came out of that movie, Rob, they used to do these shorts. Marvel used to do these shorts.
The one-shots.
Yeah, the one-shots, like Ben Kingsley in prison.
Right, which I loved.
Yeah, and it turns out the real Mandarin was coming for him. Or they had these shorts with Coulson talking about Blonsky, talking about the Abomination still being on the raft. They did all these different one-shots. Or then you go forward now and you got Thor with his roommate Daryl, which is amazing and stuff like that. And I would love for them to do a Goose and Fury short. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? Like showing them, like maybe a 7-minute short showing them through the years or something like that.
It'd be great, but no one could ever put Goose down. That would never
Well,
happen.
let's not go. Yeah, let's not. Well,
I would just say that ain't gonna happen. But it would be very funny to see the adventures of Fury and Goose. I mean,
yeah.
I'm all in. As a matter of fact, that should be an 8-episode
Disney Plus streaming
series, the Goose and Fury show.
All right, let's move on here. DC Patience writes, when does the Dumbo embargo lift? I don't know. I skipped the press screening, so I have no idea when the embargo is. I have no idea when it lifts. I still feel very iffy about this movie, but it's certainly... Look, I'm not a big Tim Burton fan. I've said that many times, but there is something feels pretty special about this movie. And so we'll see. But as of right now, DC Patience, I have no information because I haven't attended any of this stuff, so I don't care. But I don't know when the embargo lists, but as soon as I hear, I will let you know. Brass Drake writes, Rob, have you read, I think you mean you, have you read Death Dealer Prisoner of the Horned Helmet by Frank Frazetta and James Silke? Do you think this could work as a movie?
Well, I have not read the book, but the artwork is indelible. I mean, it's Frazetta's Death Dealer images. You can't, if you know anything about Frank Frazetta, and if you grew up when I grew up with his paintings adorning so many book covers, the Death Dealer is, I mean, I think even if you don't know what the image is, the Death Dealer on the horse with his helmet and his big axe, if you're a fan of heavy metal, I guarantee heavy metal music, I guarantee you that you've come across that image. So I think, yes, it could be a great movie, but I have not read the book. But
all right,
just the image is one of the best.
Okay, let's move on here. YTA2513 writes, hey, John, have you seen Sideshow's 6 scale? Yes, I have. 6 scale Obi-Wan Kenobi figure priced at $260. It's part of the Star Wars Mythos lineup. I have drooled over it. I have admired it. I have not pulled the trigger to buy it because I'm afraid if I buy one, I'm going to buy 5, and then I'm poor, and then my wife leaves me, and then I'm eating 3 meals a day at McDonald's, and it leads down to a dark, dark path, man. So I have, but Rob, I know you've seen this one, and you've probably been drooling over it. Or have you ordered it already?
I already own it.
You already own it?
I do.
Are you in possession of it?
Not in. I can't reach it now, but
you have it.
Yeah, dude. What's up? We do more weekly heroes.
That's right.
I've got stuff to show, son.
All right, and that's going to be one of them. All right, let's move on here. Next one comes to us from Cameron Peterson, who writes, Aladdin worldwide over under 800 million, opening weekend over under 120. Ooh. Okay, I'll take the under on the 800 million. I'll take the under on that. Pure guess. Whew. There's a lot of nostalgia factor with Aladdin, man. 120 is a big number, though. You know what? Oh, take over 120. Rob?
Ooh, I'm going to go under on both.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to go under on both.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So I'm under on 800, and I'm really close on 120, but you're going to take the under on both. All right.
Yeah.
Next one up. James Argento writes, way too early opening weekend predictions. Dumbo, 45 to 60 million. Aladdin, 75 to 90 million. Lion King, 185 to 225. I like those numbers, except Lion King. I think Lion King could be well north of 250. I think it could be well north of 250. I just think we might be sleeping on that. It's just a wild guess. I'm not staking anything on this. It could be 145 or whatever. Sure, it could be anything like that. But I'm just telling you, I got a feeling. Rob, how do you like these numbers?
I think those numbers are pretty plausible to me. I mean, I look, as we've talked about, if there's another movie that's going to make $2 billion in 2019 other than Endgame, it's going to be The Lion King. I think Lion King is going to have a roaring opening. And it could do exactly those numbers, if not more.
It's funny that we're sitting here talking about, like, there's 3 conceivable movies to make $2 billion this year. Disney movie number 1, Disney movie number 2, and Disney movie number 3.
I mean, wouldn't it be crazy if they all did? If Disney made
oh my
made
God.
$6 billion on 3 films, it's possible. I mean, look,
possible.
Remember, I've been saying, we had a question months back that somebody asked us, did we think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe would gross $4 billion this year? And I said it very much is in striking distance of doing that. And after this last weekend, it seems to be that we're close. But imagine if 3 movies
make $6
billion for Disney. That's insanity.
Yep.
But it could happen.
All right. Murray Reich writes, "Hey, Rob, it's so nice to see you today. 2 questions for you. Number 1, how did you get out of the quantum realm? Number 2, why the hell did you ditch that Schmoedown match?" I don't know what that is. And by the way, I should let everybody know that Robert, who was planning on joining me on the Captain Marvel spoiler discussion. You guys know we had tons. We did that spoiler discussion for 4.5 hours, and we still have tons of questions left over that we need to get to. So we're going to make follow-up videos. But just so you know, Robert is going to be doing some of those follow-up videos. He's going to be taking those questions and answering a whole bunch of them. So I'm really looking forward to that. So Rob, what was it like in the quantum realm, sir?
Well, as many people, I mean, John, you and I have participated in the movie Trivia Schmoedown, and I was locked in a room for 6 months by Dagnino, by Finstock, and they didn't give me anything. They didn't give me food. I had no Netflix, and how I escaped, well, that story will be told another day. And ducking a Schmoedown match, I think that my time is past. I think I'm much more well served to be a manager, a team manager, than to actually play in the Schmoedown, because you know what? People are younger. They take it a lot more seriously now. People actually study up for these matches. I'm not going to study. I got better things to do.
All right, let's move on here. Zach Bartran writes, what's the history of the Shazam / Captain Marvel naming thing, and can he still be called Captain Marvel, or is that a big no now? No, he can't be called Captain Marvel now. I mean, there's a history. If you really want to go into it a lot, there's this book called Slugfest, the 50-year battle between Marvel and DC. That actually goes a lot into that whole thing. But no, Shazam, he is now Shazam. For the last number of years, his official name, the whole bit, is Shazam. So there is only one Captain Marvel, and that's in Marvel. And there's one Shazam, and that's in Shazam. Rob, you want to add anything more to that other than?
No, I mean, yeah, it was always, it's a difficult thing. I mean, it's really interesting, the whole acquisition of the Shazam family by DC. And as I've often told people, that one of my favorite comics from the 70s is when Superman fights Captain Thunder, which was even looks like Shazam. If you just look up Superman versus Captain Thunder and Google that, you'll get the cover of that. I don't know what number of Superman it is, but it was one of my favorite issues of Superman, because they couldn't use the rights to Captain Marvel Shazam yet, and they had a thinly veiled Captain Marvel. But it's been a long. I want to read this book. You've talked about it before. I don't have that book, but it's a long, sordid tale. But when they acquired those Fawcett heroes, it's really interesting how it was all incorporated into the DC universe.
All right, time for just a couple more, guys, because we're going a bit over time. Orley House Soccer writes, Jasmine in her more provocative red dress towards the end of the movie is reminiscent of Slave Leia. Do you think Disney will go for it? Well, honestly, if you think back to the animated movie, her regular blue outfit is quite provocative. I mean, it's quite the skimpy thing. Will Disney go for it? I doubt it. I doubt they're going to have Naomi Scott in anything too revealing. I'm sure they're going to have her in stuff that looks gorgeous and beautiful, but I doubt they're going to go for anything too revealing. Maybe they will, but I'm going to take a guess at probably not. Fine Nguyen writes, out of curiosity, why do you keep Cinemia, John? Well, I keep it because, number one, there are times that I can't go to an AMC theater, and it's nice having that card in my pocket that I can just go and go see a movie elsewhere. Like one popular place for me is like ArcLight in Hollywood. But so yeah, it's kind of just a just in case thing for me. The other black guy writes, the best joke I've heard all month, Gal Gadot is a better actress than Brie Larson. Hey, and listen, let's give credit where credit's due. I think Gal Gadot has clearly been working very hard, because while she is still not something I would call a good actress, hey man, she's getting better. I think you can demonstrably see that she's been improving. and getting better. And guess what? There was this guy from 21 Jump Street named Channing Tatum, who I thought was the worst actor in Hollywood for years. And he got better, and he got better, and he got better. And now I really look forward to seeing him in movies. And I don't think there's any reason why Gal Gadot can't do the same thing. I see no reason why she can't. Is she as good as Brie Larson? Okay, hand me whatever you're smoking, because that's fantastic. But no. But can she get there? Why not? Why not? DC Patience writes, saw Captain Marvel 2 times this opening weekend as an FU to the trolls. Well, I saw it a couple times just because I liked watching the movie, but we all have our reasons, DC. We all have our reasons. All right, the final question that we're going to take today comes to us from Tortimer the Gray Gaming, who writes, Jafar still looks weak, but Disney should try to snap the other trailers from existence and just go with this one as their quote-unquote initial marketing. This actually looks good. Actually, you know what, Tortimer, I don't know if you think you're joking or not, but I have been seeing a trend lately of, we saw it with Alita. I think we saw it with Captain Marvel. We're seeing it here with Aladdin, that why put out a bad trailer to start? Like, why not come out guns blazing? I understand you're saving it. You want like a little introduction with your marketing, then build up to something bigger. I get that. But you only get one chance to make a good first impression. Come out of the gates strong. Come out of the gates hard. They should have led with it. I still wouldn't have loved this trailer, but it would have, I think, for a lot of people, been a lot more palatable than what they had. I don't know, Rob, do you think they did the right thing, or do you think maybe they should have just led with this trailer?
Well, yeah, I think they should have just led with this trailer. But, it's again, I think we always forget in the movie pundit space that they're not speaking to, say, us. They're trying to get the general audience that isn't watching shows like this every day to be interested in these movies. They have to let people know that the movies are coming, and then they slowly build up excitement through various teaser trailers and then the bang trailers. This is their bang trailer. It's the third trailer, I think. And, I think general audiences, look, we've seen how so many people already love this trailer. So what they've been doing has been working for the general audiences and a lot of the people who are watching this show. So I think what they've done is good. I don't think that Disney thinks they ever lead with a bad trailer. I don't think because they wouldn't put it out otherwise. They think what they've led with is good.
All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the community. I want to thank, of course, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, quickly out of the quantum realm. Robert, where can people find you online, sir?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, find me on Instagram at RMBurnett, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnettwork, or my website, theburnettwork.net.
All right, and you guys can follow me on Instagram simply at John Campea. Also, guys, don't forget to submit your questions. If you want to see your topic or question as one of the main topics here on the show, just once again, go to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact, fill out that form, and maybe you'll see your topic or question as one of John Campea Show's main topics. All right, guys, that will do it for us for today. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.